K&C Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. And if you think the sigh...
You sound sad.
Yes, for the imminent hiring of Brian Schottenheimer, well, I got more for you. I'm going to blame this on Alec Medford.
Breaking news.
It is breaking news.
This is breaking news.
I realize it is actually via Shams, but Alec, when they say don't blame the messenger, at this exact moment, just for a minute or two.
Yeah, I kind of blame you right now.
I'm 100% blaming you for telling me that Dereck Lively has a fracture in his foot and he will be out 2 to 3 months.
Thanks a lot, Alec.
Season over.
I mean, I tried.
Let's shut it down.
So while people are...
Okay, can I ask some questions here?
Yes.
All right.
Maybe you should ask Alec. He likes delivering all the bad news.
I don't
Yeah,
want
we're
any
best
more
friends
bad
too,
news.
remember?
He goes,
Mike,
actually, that's not what
the
happened.
word for a while was that Gafford was kind of dangling in trade conversations.
Right.
And there was always this, why would you want to do that when you have 2 of these and Lively typically is injured?
Yeah.
There's no way you can consider him in a trade conversation if you're trying to make a run now, right?
I guess if you're going to go with that specific sentence, then no, you can't.
But if you went the totally opposite direction, look, I want to make it clear. I do not want to trade Daniel Gafford. But if you're like, this season is effed, let's do whatever we can, I guess you could consider it.
You could consider it. Here's probably what they're looking at, Corey, because I think there's way more than just that sentence. He's going to get $25 million a year when he hits free agency, which is sooner than Dereck Lively. Dereck Lively, obviously he broke his foot. We'll see how he recovers from that next year. His season's over. Like, he ain't playing again this year. So if you look at Dereck Lively next year, you have to see how his foot recovers. You still have 3 years of control of him, but Dereck Lively's probably a max out player. So he's probably looking at 3 years from now, he's probably looking at $40 million a year. I don't know what the max will be at that point, but you probably can't pay $70 million to 2 centers who share the position. So if you're looking at the Mavs from a standpoint of, hey, can we do this? Can we keep these guys through the Luka era? Well, if you are, you're looking at approximately $70 million a year from those 2 guys. And right now, you're paying approximately $20 million a year for those 2 guys.
And that's why last season, this season, and next season were the perfect time, because Daniel Gafford was at about 12, 13, 14. You still got Dereck Lively under the rookie contract. This really sucks, because it feels like we've been grasping at every straw possible for why this season could still be alive. And it feels more and more like the injury people are like, okay, but it's not, so you should give up. So then do you shift all your focus to next year, I guess?
I would. If I'm Nico, I shift it all to next year.
And can I tell you, that's why something that annoyed me yesterday, and I realize it's more complex than just me saying, oh, the Mavericks should have done that move. Like, I understand that. But you heard the move yesterday, which everyone thinks is facilitating Phoenix picking up Jimmy Butler, because Phoenix sent their 2031 unprotected first-round pick to the Jazz for 3 first-round picks, 25, 27, and 29. Now, every one of those picks is the worst of the bunch. So, like, this year, it's whoever has the worst pick, for the team. Between Cleveland and Minnesota, 2027, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah, 2029, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah. So I get it. Like, there's a good shot.
It'll be picks 25 through 30.
Exactly. But if you're the Mavericks and you're like, hey, we got 3 first-round picks like in the next 8 years, and we can only trade 2 of them, this is the kind of deal that intrigues me, just because I'm like, man, if then you could tell me we have 2 2025s, a 26, a 27, 29, that at least like gets you back in a trading conversation potentially for some things. And I have a feeling that the Suns are going to pretty quickly turn this around for something to do with Jimmy Butler. And so I thought it was a really heads up and savvy move by the Suns if they really want Jimmy Butler.
So he can't fail for flag, is what you're saying?
Yes. No, you're too far out of that, but there's a good chance you're in the lottery the same way you were 2 years ago. So I think there's a good chance you finish 11th or 12th in the conference. Mm-hmm. So that means you are in the lottery situation. But most likely the Mavericks will be picking somewhere between 15 and 10, like a few years ago, because we're not sure Luka's coming back this year either. Like, let's just be honest about that calf and his work ethic and his weight situation. Like, that's not an easy comeback injury like it is. And then I have to deal with Kyrie's back and seeing if he gets numbness again down his legs like he had a few weeks ago. I have to shut him down for another 5 to 15 days to see how he feels after doing some more kind of work on his back. So this is just a lost year.
Corey.
And I think that when you're a GM, it's kind of frustrating as you're trying to go through that, what Mike's going through and what Chris Young went through. Is my team really this or is it not?
Yeah.
And if I go ahead and pack it up on this one, can I guarantee that next year everybody will be healthy all season? No, I can't. I got to try everything I can to, at the last minute, pull this thing together.
I will tell you this. If you're looking for, and I'm going to work really hard at this, if you're looking for a potential bright side. Now, Corey, you said, so we probably can't fail for flag. The good news about the way they switched up the NBA draft lottery is if you can have one of the worst, like 5 or 6 records, then you've got a better shot than maybe you had in years past. That's still going to be really tough to get to. But I will tell you this. If you want to start watching some Rutgers basketball, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, I think, are 2 like very real prospects in this draft.
All right.
Trey Johnson, who obviously Mike has brought up, local product, he's going to be really high. So while everybody wants Cooper Flagg, and I understand that, this is a significantly better draft than last year, where they were like, let's figure out who's number 1. There's a very defined number 1, and then whether you think it's Newell, Bailey, Harper, Trey Johnson, or whoever.
Somebody's there.
There's battles for who could be 2, 3, 4, or whatever the case might be.
I wonder this.
If we're going extreme.
Does it make it easier now in the next few weeks, because the trade deadline is coming up? Does it make it easier to trade Klay Thompson now going, I get it, we have you next year at $16.6 million, but we're not making a playoff run.
You're
if
not
your
getting a
goal is
chance
to
with
win
us.
one more time,
Then
we can't do it.
Then you have to convince him. I'm being dead serious
Yeah.
about this. You have to convince him it's his idea, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you have to wait until he asks, because you'd be
I
like,
kind of want to go to a
Like,
contender.
you talk to his agent and say,
Yeah.
hey, we're having teams that are interested in Klay. You see our situation. Luka, we're 50-50 on him coming back after the All-Star break. We know that Dereck Lively's season is done. We got to protect that foot, especially what we have invested in him and what we think of his future. He's done for the year. We just can't compete in the Western Conference with the injuries that we have. And I'm throwing out a team. San Antonio's calling up because they want to make a run. Do you want to go play with Chris Paul and Wemby?
Yeah.
Like, I'm throwing out something, and you're kind of maybe just trying to get rid of his salary and open up more playing time for something or other, and they're going to throw in a first round pick. Cleveland, who looks like they could win it all. They want to give us a pick for you. You know, like, I don't know, like, at this point, I do think you start looking at, in a way, this is maybe good that Dereck Lively's foot broke now, is that it gives you time to reassess your trade situation.
that's true. And if I was looking at it just from a practical standpoint, but if everybody wants to make a run for it, I can quickly turn the corner. I think you can realistically get to the 9th worst record in the NBA. I'm just saying, if that's your goal for the best possible draft capital, I think you can reasonably get down to the 9th worst record, which gives you a 5% shot of getting picks 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'm not rooting for this, but look, if you start getting numbness again down Kyrie Irving's leg, which you don't want, because here's the deal. He's going to opt out of that 1-year contract.
Probably.
As a player option, he's going to opt out. It makes it very difficult on what do we do if a dude at his age is now having numbness going down his leg with a back issue. So that gets scary in your future with Kyrie being here. But if Kyrie misses the majority of the second half of the season with a back issue, sciatic nerve issue, back surgery issue, and Luka can't really play and Dereck Lively is done for the year now, then you're probably going to lose most of your games. We've seen it. They cannot beat New Orleans. They cannot beat Charlotte. And that's with Kyrie on the court. They can't do it. So they're going to lose most of their games. If there's no Luka, no Kyrie, and no Dereck Lively, you are one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA.
Jason Kidd is Bruce Bochy in that his first year, lose in the Western Conference Finals, then don't make the playoffs, lose in the finals, maybe don't make the playoffs.
Next
year is our win the finals is what I'm figuring here.
Look, at this point, and I still think there's a wild set of variants for the Mavericks depending on a couple more things. First of all, the loss of Lively for 2 to 3 months, in case you're catching up, and that's what happened. Look, I already thought that they were going to lose the next 3 games. I don't feel like that's a negative point of view to put you at 23-23. And then as you get closer to the All-Star break, will Luka be back? How long will Luka be back? Kyrie's back. How problematic is that? Because that can change a lot of things. Because I can see a scenario, and Mike, I'm dead serious about this. I can see a scenario where Kyrie's back holds up, Luka's back, and he's good to go, and you make a run towards the playoffs. Now, what happened?
Like 6, 7, 8 seed is best case scenario.
Absolutely. I could absolutely see that. On the flip side, it's a pretty dark picture with no Dereck Lively until probably at least April. So, like, we're talking about the very end of the regular season, and that might be a better case scenario. Kyrie Irving's back acts up, and Luka continues to have calf issues or whatever other issues. To Mike's point, now all of a sudden, that's why I was like, I could see you having the 9th worst record.